Let's bring on our guest here, Kory Woods, to make sense of it all. Talk to him about the Lions. Covers the Detroit Lions for MLive.com. Our good friend, and as always, brought to you guys by BetUS. That is Kory Woods. Kory, how we doing?
Hey, what's going on? How you guys doing?
Hey, Kory, I need it. This is why I rely on you for this. All right, you're the kind of you keep us, you keep the fellas level-headed on this shit. All right, and Myles Garrett requested trade. Lions Twitter goes up in flames. I know you've seen it all. And people probably texting you asking all these questions. I know they have. So, Kory, I want to go to you on this. One, A, should the Lions do it, or at least make the call and have interest? And then B, is it actually realistic? But first, before we get to the realistic part, I want your actual thoughts on trying to get a player like that for a Super Bowl run.
Well, first and foremost, it does take two to tango. So, I mean, if the Lions and both the Browns would have to agree on it, of course. But, I mean, I believe that it is GM malpractice if you don't even at least pick up the phone and call and have a conversation with the Browns about it. Yeah, they've come out and publicly said that they're not going to trade him. But they have to say that because now that Myles Garrett has gone out and publicly said that he wants out, they've lost a little leverage. And we've seen this stuff happen time and time again where a team says they're not going to trade a guy. And guess what? They end up trading that guy. So I think the Lions, they have to call and have a conversation with the Browns about it. And then if I would swing for the fences to go get him. I mean, I have an idea just based on previous trades about probably what it would take to get somebody of that caliber. But I mean, yeah, you have to go. You have to call to see what he's available to you and what you can make happen.
I interrupted the video to tell you about the sponsor, and that is BetUS. And you could go check out their casino, which a lot of people, I understand. You love the casino. Well, BetUS has a casino, and you could spin your way to massive jackpots with BetUS Casino and all of their amazing deals. 200% sign-up bonus up to $5,000 and 250% crypto sign-up bonus up to $5,000. Head over to BetUS, check out the casino, play some roulette. Why not? But always gamble responsibly. Never gamble anything you're not really willing to lose. Now, let's get back to Kory.
Hey, Kory, I do want to ask you, and I know we had a lot of conversations about the coordinators in last week as well. Now that we're kind of into it a little bit, the offseason, I do just want to get your feel on both of the coordinators and all of the, not just the coordinators, support staff that's gotten brought in, the passing game coordinator, all of these different coaches that have gotten brought in. What are your thoughts on these kind of new pieces that Dan's built with his coaching staff?
I think it's an admirable job based on the type of turnover he's had in the week. I mean, okay, you lose Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator. What do? You go back out and you get John Morton, a guy who was a senior offensive assistant for the team in 2022, a guy that has written some of the plays that they've been using. He was a mentor to the guy, Tanner, that a lot of people want to promote to the job. And if you just look at his resume, I mean, this guy he was an offensive coordinator for USC, winning Rose Bowls with Pete Carroll. He had a raw deal with the Jets. So, I mean, if you go back and look at that team that he was the OC of, I mean, come on. No offense, but I believe it was Forte, Josh McCollum, you're not really getting much done right there. So there's that. Now, when it comes to Kelvin Shepherd, I believe that was a very, very smart move. You don't really want to probably promote two first-time coordinators, and by promoting Shepherd, go ahead and keep the room. You keep a guy that has the respect of the players, and there's not going to be too much of a drop-off in the message. Pass game coordinator, they brought in David Shaw. Long coaching history, well-respected. That's what I'm trying to say, well-respected. And I believe that he's going to be able to come in there and do things. We brought in Casey Rogers to replace Terrell Williams. Solid move right there. I mean, I like the moves. We'll see how they work out. But the one thing I've got to tell people is that, these names that were kind of rather unknowns when Dan Campbell first built this staff, I mean, if he had the sense to go hire those guys and put them on his staff, I believe he has, like I said, he has a sense to go find replacements, and these have been some solid picks.
Hey, Kory, can you do us a favor real quick? I think it's a little laggy. Can you rejoin and see if it improves?
Yeah.
Just Is it lagging a little bit? Just okay. All right, perfect. Just so make sure we get him all taken care of here. I know it was a little laggy. I want to see if he drops back. Maybe it'll fix it. But if Kory's speaking, I want to make sure he's people. Hey, there's no lag. Make sure he's good because he was spitting.
I was literally about to say the same thing. He's going off.
I want to make sure he's good. I honestly forgot. We didn't even talk to Kory about the David Shaw and John Morton.
No, I couldn't remember the timeline on it last week. I know we talked to the doc on it, but I wasn't sure the full timeline on because it was throughout the whole week that guys were getting hired. It felt like it was like every other day there was a new hire on the staff.
Let's get him back in here. Let's see how it is. All right, Kory, we got you back. How is it now? Let's see. Wait, I wonder. Is it a little better?
I think so.
We're just like eyeing him up. Go ahead, Klotz. Go ahead.
You're good. Oh, we'll just leave it like this because even remember, boys, when I was out in the garage, when you go full screen to make it way more laggier then. So we'll just stay like this, Kory, so don't stress about it. But last week, Mobile, Alabama, Senior Bowl. You look at the Detroit Lions, they obviously have off-season evaluations. You got the Senior Bowl, you got pro days, NFL Combine, obviously interviews during the Combine. How much do you think the Lions value that Senior Bowl opportunity? Because you look this year, there's a lot of wide receivers, but then you see guys like Mike Green going off. And you look at that and you're like, okay, Brad Holmes probably loves seeing those guys that you can't really get a close look at. How much do you think they really value that Senior Bowl compared to the other competitions that they have during the evaluation process?
I think with this coaching staff and who the GM is, Brad Holmes, I don't think anything is off the table as far as when it comes to evaluation. I think Brad Holmes looks at everything because you got to remember he's pretty much, when he was with the Rams, he pretty much worked in basically every phase of scouting. I mean, that is Brad's thing, scouting players. So I think that he takes any advantage, any type of take, whether it's the Senior Bowl, East versus West game, UFL stuff. I think he's looking at everything to be able to find that diamond in the rough that nobody else is looking at, that they can bring into Detroit, bring it to Allen Park, and then absorb them into that Lions culture and teach them their way and be able to win. So I think he looks at everything.
Yeah, Kory, I mean, another thing here, we got free agency coming up, guys that they may resign, may not resign, and we're going to talk about it today. But when you have a guy like Tim Patrick, who's a veteran wide receiver, and he was productive this year, when you have a guy like that who has the experience he has, it's hard to just like assume, we'll just go get a guy who's 6'3", 6'4" in the draft that can fill that role. But with Brad and how well he's drafted, is it crazy to think that they might not bring Tim Patrick back and replace him in the draft? Or do you think they would lean on his experience in a year like this? How do you think they handle the Tim Patrick stuff?
I think he's a guy that you have to bring back, or at least try to, because here's the thing: you lost J. Ray, and that you have to replace the production. Now, Tim Patrick replaced that production. I mean, he had 394 and 3 touchdowns. But at the same time, he proved to be a reliable target for Jared Goff as the season went on. I would like to see him with this team, with the OTAs and training camp, and see what can be done there. Because, we've seen this from JG in the 4 seasons he's been here. Once he has that comfortability and rapport established with you, he starts taking a lot more chances in the offense. So I think that's a guy that you do try to bring back because he just seemed to fit in, and a locker room seemed pretty well liked. But at the same time, if Brian has shown if there's a guy in the draft that he feels is good for the offense, he has no problem either trading up to go get him or trading back and just kind of playing a little bit of chess. I mean, that's how he got Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th round. So I don't think it's anything. I don't think it's a crazy idea, but me personally, I see them trying to bring Tim Patrick back and pretty much making this a very defensive-heavy draft. They need really a lot of depth on that side of the ball, and when you look on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, it's pretty much set.
Yeah, I want to ask you too, Kory, just when it comes to these extensions, I mean, we're going to start looking at a couple guys that are due, Kirby and JMO. I think I might be missing someone else, but there's a couple guys that might get extended this offseason. What are your thoughts on those, and who do you think ends up inking a deal to get these extensions? Because those conversations, like with the Myles Garrett and even free agents, like all of that kind of ties in now. We're at the point, I feel like, in the Lions fan base to where everything falls on these extensions with all of these guys that draft or that Brad Holmes has drafted, because they're starting to get to that point now. What are your thoughts on that? And what do you see happening this offseason?
Well, see what that Myles Garrett domino looks like first before you start getting into the extension talks, because I mean, some of these guys are still on the rookie deal, so you still got club options on them and whatnot. You can kind of just play the game right now, and do you really need to send them, or do you need to go ahead and see what's on the table for this generational pass rusher? So I think right now you got to kind of just see what the Myles Garrett stuff looks like, and then if you can possibly make that happen, then okay, figure out about the extensions afterward. But for right now, I mean, yeah, see what's up with Myles Garrett. You don't got to worry about those extensions right now, in my opinion.
And I gotta ask it, Kory, just because I can see the chats going at it right now with the back and forth. We're talking about Myles Garrett, but another name that got brought up to be possibly traded was Cooper Kupp. Obviously, Jared Goff's old wide receiver in LA. What are your first thoughts when you hear Lions fans say, "Bring Cooper Kupp home, reunite him with Jared Goff"? What's your reaction when you hear Kupp to Detroit? When fans are saying that?
Well, here's my thing. Cooper Kupp is like on the hook for like $20 million. So I think whatever team gets him, they're gonna inherit that salary. So I think any team that if the Rams want to successfully trade him, I think any team that gets him is going to try to get him on to restructure that deal. I think Cooper Kupp in Detroit, it's one of those situations where if you can get him for a real cheap from the cheap or a cheaper deal, it's one of those bring him in here and figure it out later. As we all know that St. Brown works out the slot a lot, as obviously. So I think it's one of those things where if you get him on a deal that makes sense, bring him in, figure it out later. I mean, hey, John Morton, what is he known for? Working with receivers. So if you can get him on a deal that makes sense, bring him in here. Like the same thing with Myles Garrett. I mean, a lot of people are talking about, don't trade the picks for the future. I mean, look, Myles Garrett is 29. Right now, we're just thinking realistically, it would probably take something like either 2 firsts and third, or 2 firsts, a fourth, and a player. My thing is, okay, you're probably going to go edge in the first round this year anyway. You're not going to get any edge in that draft that is a reigning defensive player of the year, 4-time first-team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler. So you punt that first rounder. And you go to next year's first round. Okay, you're missing out on that, but look, still open. You still got your window open, so you're really only missing next year's first rounder if you want to look at it like that. And then people are talking about, he wants a big deal. You're not the Fords. Don't worry about their money. Let them work the salary cap out. That's what they're paid for. Teams have found a way to pay Patrick Mahomes $500 million and still acquire talent with him. Figure the rest of the stuff out later. But I don't know. I'm a little bit rambling there. But yeah, if you got a chance to get good players in here on deals that make sense, get them in the building and figure it out.
Yeah. Well said, Kory. We appreciate you. Keep up the great work. Appreciate you joining the show. Check out Kory on X and all social media platforms at Kory Woods, and check out his stuff, mlife.com. Does a great job covering the Lions. Kory, we appreciate the wise words, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate you, Kory.
Appreciate you, Kory.
There you go. The man, Kory Woods, brought to you guys as always by BetUS. But yeah, sorry about that. Kory is having some little bit of connection issues there, but you got what he said for the most part. Hey, what's going on there? It's Jeff Iafrate. Appreciate you for finishing the video. You can check out one of the videos here suggested, or show support by commenting, liking, and subscribing. And buy your merchandise, FisherCTSports.com.